Orlando, Florida is playing host to the 2023 American Angus Association annual convention, and there are cattle producers from across the nation, including Western Ag Network country, attending this year's event. Joining us here today is a name and face very familiar to producers out in the countryside, especially in the Angus business. Mr. Joe Goggins joins us here today, and Joe, we're in sunny Orlando. A little nicer than it was
Yeah.
back home a week ago, but we're at the height of the fall run back in Montana and across the West. How are things shaping up there for your family's livestock markets and just on the livestock end of things?
It's good. It's been remarkable to me how resilient this feeder calf market has been. I mean, we've had some ups and downs. I mean, when you look at what's happening in the world and the uncertainty there is in the world, and the feeder calf market especially, just it stays resilient. You can tell. You look at these auction receipts to these auction markets all across America, they're down, and we got less cows. We still don't see a herd rebuild going on, and I think it's a I think in my career, I never remember a time in my time that it's been more, there's more opportunity, there's more promise to tomorrow to this owning the factory, owning the cow than right now. I think there's never been a better time in my mind to keep some of these females around you.
Now, obviously, you've probably got to talk with a lot of producers that are marketing their calves or maybe even thinking of liquidating that herd and putting their hat up on the rung and maybe calling it a day and retiring from the business. What has that conversation been like? And are we seeing as many producers thinking about that, or is that just more that local coffee shop talk, guys just saying, maybe I'll get out of the business to sell these cows, but it's hard to get out of the cow business. I know that.
Yeah, it, as far as an auction market owner, as you well know, I sit on the LMA board as well, and from a standpoint of auction market owners across America, it's a real concern, the amount of producers that we are losing. And I just look at our own case. I know last year, in the month of December, we have in that 1 week, we'll sell 10 to 15,000 bred females each year. And last year we had 15 total and complete dispersals. And in all of my time and from being a young kid till now, I never remember a time where we had more than 3 or 4. And we've got more complete and total dispersals on the books for this year than we had last year. And it's just you can see we're aging out. There's a lot of these producers that are getting to the age where they see a pretty good exit, and a lot of them have it in mind that they're going to run yearlings and this and that, and probably be okay. But all I know is at the end of this thing, somebody's got to make them. And I think for those of us that stay the course, that keep some females, that keep the factory around us, I think there'll be some real opportunity in the days ahead. I really do.
How do we keep people in business though, in your eyes? How do we keep young people maybe expanding with the family, going out on their own? What are obviously it's tough if you're coming in to buy. Obviously, it's always great to get a loan, but we know interest rates are high and these cows are priced pretty high. But in your mind, how do we keep the family ranches going?
I think number one, we're kind of leaving the scenario of these ranches staying generational, and that's really how rural America, how America was built, not just in agriculture, but as a lot of small businesses throughout the America have been a very generational type scenario, and we're losing that. And I think the only way we're going to combat that is we as an industry have got to unify. We have got to come together. We got to quit throwing rocks at each other. We got to quit suing everybody. We have got to come together on some ideas that will increase margin, that will increase and incentivize young people to not only want to be able to do this, but be able to do this. And on top of that, I think we've got to come up with some incentives for people to leave their land in livestock production. And I think there's ways of doing that, but we have got to have a real serious conversation. All of us groups, I don't care what industry group you're involved in. I don't care if you're a stock grower, NCBA, or a U.S. cattleman, or RCAF, Farm Bureau, Farmers Union. We have got to come together on a few of these ideas and unify and go with a unified message to these people in DC and come together. And I think if we do that, we'll see young people come in this thing, but they're not going to do this. It's too much work to break even.
Yes, yep, it is, and I appreciate you sharing that insight and some of your thoughts there. And also we got on a more positive note there. We you got to sit behind the microphone there and sell some pretty high calves this year. And what was that like, seeing $3, $4 calves, or even a little bit higher on some of those lighter weight ones
Yeah,
this year?
yeah, it's that's why I say it's been such a resilient market, and it you can tell we're short. And I remember a year or two ago, people bringing their cows in and selling them and leaving balling because they didn't want to sell them, and or they'd sell the calves and you knew it wasn't going to meet their note at the bank, and everybody left the sale this year smiling, and it's way more gratifying. It's I think the worst thing we can do as an industry, however, though, is apologize for what we're getting for these cattle. Uh, this is what they're supposed to bring, and it's a good thing they are bringing it. For when you look at what these input costs are, when you look at interest, when you look at what a cost of a baler, cost of a swather, cost of fertilizer, just these inputs, cost of a pickup. These cattle got to bring this, and we as an industry, the worst thing we can do right now would be apologize for what these things can bring.
Well, again, Joe Goggins joined us here today, and we enjoy chatting with Joe every single year, of course, not just at this meeting, but throughout the season. And I appreciate you taking time here today. I'll let you get back to convention.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Okay, thanks.
Well, friends, again, we're having more conversations brought to you by our friends at IMI Global and Angus Link from this year's Angus Convention in Orlando. On the road with the Western Ag Network in Orlando at the American Angus Association Annual Convention, brought to you by IMI Global and Angus Link.